Hey everybody, this is Doomhammer with another 32-team franchise quarterback update. So we finished the AFC South and we will begin by going through the AFC North. And the first team is the Cincinnati Bengals. So let's see their quarterback history. So it starts off with John Kitna, who was the quarterback I started with in 2002. He had been with the Seahawks before. Didn't have the best time with the Bengals, and they very quickly moved on from him. Since the Bengals, after they drafted Carson Palmer, he basically was a backup. He was a backup in Cincy, backup in Denver, year off, and then he had a year with the Chicago Bears. He had 7,230 yards with the Bengals, and as you can see, that's about a little less than half of his entire career yards. He did have some of that with the Seahawks and when he was a backup, but for the most part, he had a very underwhelming career in my franchise. In real life, he went to the Detroit Lions, where he was the starter for a few years in that 2005 to like 06, 07 years. So he never had those years with me. So that 29,745 yards is his career versus my career franchise with him. So why did he have a short career in Cincinnati? Well, when you have the worst record in the league, you get the number one overall pick, and the Bengals go with Carson Palmer, who went 59-58 before leaving the Bengals for the New York Giants, where he had a pretty good stint there. He was 36-31. But then decided to move on, and he became a backup in Oakland. He was a backup again. He was traded from Oakland to the Bears because the Bears were not having a good quarterback situation there. And really, quite frankly, haven't figured it out either. And then he was a backup with the San Francisco 49ers this year behind Jameis Winston. So his career is not over, but he definitely, is near the end. Then we look at his real life stats compared to my franchise. We can see over half of his stats come from his time with the Bengals, and most of the rest of those stats come from when he was with the New York Giants. He was the Rookie of the Year in this franchise. He has made the playoffs, but not as much as he had hoped. He had 40,000 yards, which is a great career, quite frankly. But compared to his real NFL, he had 46,000 yards in real life. I will say he does have a smashing passing touchdowns, which is fantastic. And so the Bengals had to move on, and so they ended up getting a bridge quarterback in Tavares Jackson. Jackson was with the Seattle Seahawks with 25-17 record, and he ended up getting the 11-16 record with the Bengals in 2 seasons. Not very great. They do end up moving on from him fairly quickly. Then he was with Houston, and then now he is currently the I don't know if he's definitely not the franchise quarterback, but he signed a 4-year contract with the Tennessee Titans, and he's working through that contract. And we look at his stats here. He had 22,000 yards in my franchise. That's going to be even going higher with the Titans. In real life, he only had 7,200 yards, so a lot fewer yards, but he has thrown a lot of touchdowns. He has thrown a lot of interceptions as well. He's rushed better. So really, he's had a great career in my franchise, probably one of the best careers from the 2006 NFL draft class, which he was a part of. That was like Vince Young, Jay Cutler, Matt Leinart. All of them are basically backups now, and Tavares Jackson continues to start. Then John Skelton had 7 games started between those 3 years of 2010, 2011, 2012. Then he was the backup in Buffalo, backup in Kansas City, and I think now he's just a free agent. He had 2,000 yards in his career, 20 touchdowns. We see 21 there in his total career. When we see him in real NFL, he's about 3,700 yards. So he did a little bit better in real life than in my franchise with yards. However, I threw more touchdowns and I threw fewer interceptions than the real John Skelton. Now, there's Brodie Croyle, and Brodie Croyle had a fantastic career with the Detroit Lions. He was their main starting quarterback, being like a 2nd or 3rd round draft choice. But after Detroit finally had their falter, the Cincinnati Bengals ended up calling him up in 2012, and he went a nice 6-9 record with the Bengals. Then he went as the backup to the Carolina Panthers in 2013 and 2014. There is a team he's on in this 2015 season, and I don't remember where he is. I'll have to double check that and make sure I update Croyle's history there. But when we look at his career, as you can see, he has 21,000 yards, 178 touchdowns, 104 interceptions. He's rushed for over 1,000 yards and 14 touchdowns. Most of that was with Detroit. When we compare that with his career, I mean, Brody Croyle was with the Chiefs and never really went anywhere. So even just his time with the Bengals was better than his entire career in real life. Then we've got their draft pick in 2012, Brock Osweiler. And so Osweiler was there for 2 years, went 3-11, and they gave up on him because they ended up drafting somebody in 2014 who ended up being the replacement for him, and he's their current quarterback. But Brock Osweiler went to Green Bay, and he's actually doing very well. He actually helped turn the team around in 2014. Eli Manning was like 0-5, and then they decided to allow Brock Osweiler to have a chance at starting, and he did. Went 9-4, almost made the playoffs. We'll see how he does this year. When we look at his career, half of his career yards come from the Bengals. After this season with the Packers, the odds are he will probably beat his career currently. But we have some time to get there and even go even further. Another quarterback that was sort of a bridge when Osweiler was not doing so great, they put Derek Anderson in, and Derek Anderson has had a very good career in my franchise. He took the Denver Broncos to the AFC Championship game and won it. He lost the Super Bowl against Drew Brees and the 49ers. He ended up going to Seattle, and he actually beat out Vince Young for the starting job there, was there for 2 years, back up in Pittsburgh. And with his backup in Cincinnati, he went 1-4. He got a pretty weak record. With his stint with the Arizona Cardinals, he was 5-0 when Andy Dalton got injured and helped them get back to the playoffs. And then he's currently with the Baltimore Ravens, where this was the team he was originally drafted to in like the 6th round. He started the season, and then they were 2-2, and they decided to make a trade for Peyton Manning, in which that hasn't really gone any better. When we take a look at his stats, he's got 25,000 yards passing, which is really remarkable. His real career, he had 10,878 passing yards. He's almost got 3 times that in my franchise. I don't know if he'll ever get to 30,000. We have to see if he can find a starting opportunity again, or maybe if like Manning gets injured and Derek Anderson goes back in, we'll see. Over 200 passing touchdowns. A lot of my quarterbacks have high touchdowns, so that's interesting kind of for the league history. But he's had a lot of starts in his career. Cincinnati wasn't really where he landed to be the long-term starter, but we'll see how he does in the tail end of his career. Because right now there's not a lot of key starting quarterbacks, so there could be a journeyman opportunity, such as with Baltimore and maybe some other teams. And then we get to the current starter of the Bengals, Derek Carr. So Derek Carr went 10-7 his first year and made the playoffs. And he is still their starting quarterback. He has 4,100 yards, 35 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. We have a long way to go to match up with his career. But until then, he might have a pretty long career here in Cincinnati. I guess he's having a rough year this year, but they're going to stick it out with him. And even if not Cincinnati, he'll probably be a reliable starter in this league. And then when we look at the all-time Bengals passing leaders, this is a new slide I've added to my quarterback history. So in Cincinnati, there's been 3 quarterbacks that made the top 5 that I've played with. So we start with Ken Anderson with 32,000 yards, Boomer Esiason. I know he's been a major sports commentator. And right behind him is Carson Palmer with 23,000 yards. Jeff Blake, who I never played with, has 15,000. Then it's Kitna with 7,200 and Tavares Jackson with 4,300. We'll see if Derek Carr I think after this season, he'll pass Tavares Jackson. He probably, I don't know, he might be able to pass John Kitna. He has to get another maybe 3,800 yards or, no, he needs more than that. If he has another 4,000 yard passing season, he'll probably get it. But he's got a lot of work to do to catch up with Blake and then Palmer and then Esiason. And he's got to be the long-term answer to pass Ken Anderson. Then we see Carson Palmer did get 1 touchdown more than Ken Anderson. So Palmer is the all-time Bengals passing touchdown leader. We see Tavares Jackson and John Kitna getting there with 56 and 39. So there you have it. That's the slideshow here for the Cincinnati Bengals. So if you like this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more league history. Again, I play every single game. I'm all offense. I have 2 controllers. I put the defensive player on the D line so he doesn't mess up the pass coverage. And I've played 14 seasons. I'm in the 14th one, and we're just chugging along, recreating the alternate reality of the NFL. So this is the Bengals. Next up, we'll have the Browns in the next video.